Well, flip me in the donk hole. It's another conspiracy video with actual production values. It's just so beautiful, man. You know, it's all I want. Stupid ideas shown with a little bit of panache. It's clearly possible, so how about keeping it up, guys? 2's a start, but not nearly good enough, because the rest of your videos make my eyes bleed.
Flat Earth has long been touted as the mother of all conspiracy theories.
I don't know about that, man. I would say the Illuminati/secret world government is the mother of all conspiracy theories. I mean, it literally covers pretty much every single conspiracy out there. Ask someone who believes any of this crap, and they will probably believe a bunch of others, but you kind of have to believe some spoopy government shadow organisation is controlling it all. Otherwise, the likes of Russia or China would be the first to point out all of the facts about reality as you seem to have sussed it, and undermine their geopolitical enemies in the eyes of their own people. I mean, even the countries that don't have a stable government are in on it. That's how good they are. But for Christy cake's sake, don't ask them to cover up one of those really difficult ones like a semen stain on a dress. They aren't gods, you know.
Suppressed and ridiculed for centuries as being an ignorant, unscientific worldview.
The funny thing is, while it is an old idea, the facts about the shape of our planet have been so well known and so solidly established that it hasn't been until the internet age that something so stupid could become at all popular. You needed thousands of people who reject reality to come together in the same, albeit virtual space at the same time before it could really take hold. And I thank Satan for that every day. The beautiful things it has produced. I get to taste the low-hanging fruit of idiocy constantly. So you are right. You do get ridiculed. I have never laughed so goddamn hard. Keep it up.
But the facts of the matter are far from what you've been told.
Oh, you have some facts, do you? Can't wait. I'm sure they aren't going to be childish misrepresentations of reality based on a tiny perspective and a lack of any scientific education. No.
It is a fact, not a theory, that bodies of water always seek and find their own level.
Oh god, this one again. Do you guys ever get sick of being corrected about how wrong you are all the time? You know, what about... No, do you know what? I'm going to let you continue for a bit. Otherwise, I'm just going to end up repeating myself even more than I'm already going to, after having addressed this point countless times in countless ways.
From a pond, lake, or an ocean, the natural physics of water is to find and remain level.
Okay, let's take a look at a large body of water with a reference point so that we can see what water does with enough space to affect either a curve or a completely flat surface. This is the Little Tensus Bayou. I want you to pay attention to that high water mark. If we follow it along, you can see that it dips below some kind of, what would you call that? Some kind of bend or curve. Not very flat, is it? You can go there yourself and measure this. You'll find that the distance between the water and the water mark is uniform all the way along, and yet somehow it still clearly bends down, and well before the so-called vanishing point. Also, you can see the road above stretches much further into the distance. Just for scale, this is how far we're zooming in. And in before, what about that thing in the background? Well, my friend, that is what we in the biz call a hill.
It is a fact that the majority of Earth is covered in such level water, thus making it an unscientific theory to postulate that Earth is actually a gigantic sphere.
Literally the opposite of reality. The Earth is in fact a sphere surrounded by water because of a little thing called gravity. You know, that thing that you have time and again been unable to debunk because you don't comprehend it.
With bendy oceans curving all the way around it.
While that is, in all honesty, an extremely cool graphic, something I've got to give you props for, by the way, it absolutely shows you have no frigging idea what you're talking about. Again and again, gravity is not down. It is towards the mass of an object. The more massive an object, the more gravitational force it exerts on the objects around it. And while yes, 70% of the Earth's surface is water, which sounds really, really impressive, the total mass of the Earth that is water, you know, if you include all the hot goo in the middle, is about 0.05%, which is considerably less impressive and makes it kind of obvious why it doesn't just fly away when there's so comparatively little of it.
Unproven, unscientific theory with no observable, measurable, or repeatable evidence.
Wrong, wrong, and wrong. The fact that you are too stupid to understand what is repeatedly explained to you, or too lazy to actually ask why do people think these things, does not change the fact that yes, the curve of the water on Earth is observable, measurable, and repeatable in so many ways that the fact that you guys just spend your time saying "nuh-uh" instead of doing experiments and writing papers is kinda telling.
To claim that bodies of water can somehow bend, cling to the exterior of shapes, and show convexity upon their surface.
Oh, for Sky Daddy's sake, stop repeating yourself, and using big words doesn't make you more correct, it just makes you sound like a pretentious moron, instead of the far more tolerable everyday moron that you probably actually are. See, I know that didn't sound like it, but that was me being nice. I know. I'm so kind. You're welcome. You tosser.
It is a fact, not a theory, that we are able to observe objects at incredibly long distances.
Wait a goddamn testicle tickling second. Is that camera being moved forward and zoomed in? I mean, I could be wrong, but that doesn't just look like a zoom to these eyes. And I've seen a lot of flurfers zoom into a lot of footage. I would love to have the unedited footage to play with, but I'm sure that'll happen. You guys are always so intellectually honest after all.
Far beyond what would be possible if Earth were a globe 25,000 miles in circumference, as we're told.
Well, actually, we aren't just told. In fact, you can go to 99% of Flat Earth channels and usually find a video couched as proof of the flattest Eartheth that categorically proves a globe, but you guys are just so damn special to see it. Take this for instance. Now, the claim by you guys is that when something disappears into the distance, you can see it again when you zoom in. And while this is true to a certain point, it doesn't apply to things below the horizon, which, as the buildings get bigger as you zoom in, but notably, you can never see more or even less of them. You can simply resolve them better because of the magnifications. The bottoms of the buildings are still obscured no matter how much you zoom in, almost as if they are behind some kind of bent surface, and the tops of the buildings just happen to stretch high enough for you to still be able to see them at this distance. Weird that, right?
For example, it is a fact that in Genoa, Italy, from just above sea level, it is possible to see the distant islands of Elba, Caprea, and Corsica 80 to 125 miles away.
Right. I'm a little bit annoyed right now because I just spent the last hour doing all the maths, and I hate maths because I'm dumb, to figure out what you are saying here, if it's true. And it turns out that it is all true except one little bit. The only sources of this claim are from images that were snapped hundreds of meters above sea level, taken from mountains and tall buildings. In fact, in one of them, you can literally see a freaking aeroplane that's below eye level. That's not just above sea level, that's above flight level, you absolute penis. You can't make this crap up, people.
It is a necessary theory that the globe Earth must curve 8 inches per mile squared if it really be a ball 25,000 miles in circumference, as we're told. But based on such a theory, these islands would all be completely hidden behind thousands of feet of curved Earth.
Unless, of course, you were either the world's most sheeply sheep that believes whatever his dumbass mates are all saying, or you are a massive liar. Or, if I'm being really, really nice, which we all know I am, stretcher of the truth. A truth so stretched, it's now as flat as the Earth isn't.
It is a fact, not a theory, that the horizon always appears perfectly flat, 360 degrees around the observer, regardless of altitude.
Well, no, not once you get high enough, but let's say as high as is reasonably achievable by a person with an IQ of less than 7. Yes, everywhere you look will be a big flat line. Do you know what we expect to see if the Earth is le ball? Exactly that. The question is, why can't you see everything from up there? Why is there a horizon on a flat Earth at all? That no matter how many zoomy boys you use, you always have a sharp cutoff from any particular position.
All amateur balloon, rocket, plane, and drone footage show a completely flat horizon, as high as we can reach, over 20 miles or 120,000 feet up.
As high as you can reach. And let's be frank, that's not actually that high up on an object that's nearly 8,000 miles in diameter. That's 0.25%. You are still practically touching tips at that point.
It is an observable, testable, repeatable, scientific fact of reality.
Someone once said to you that your facts have to be observable, repeatable, etc. And you thought, if I say that before everything I let come flying out of my slack maw, that means it's true. Not how it works, mate.
That Polaris, the North Pole star, situated perfectly over the North Pole center of Earth, never moves a single inch.
Wrong, 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 wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong.
Night after night, year after year, century after century, with all the other fixed stars remaining fixed in their relative constellations, revolving perfect circles around Polaris.
You're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong.
It is also an unobservable, unscientific theory to claim that the Earth is spinning 1,000 miles per hour.
No, it's not. Have you never even looked up why they say that? Do you just think it's made up? The same way everything you believe is made up. I've brought it up before, but you could test this yourself with a few bits of string and a heavy object. If you set off a pendulum by burning the string so you don't introduce an angular momentum, the angle of the arc will slowly change over time. Because, get this, the Earth is fecking spinning, you dunce. There is no explanation for the phenomena other than we're moving. I've certainly never heard any from the Flat Earth camp because, well, we all know you got nothing.
And the Milky Way shoots millions of miles per hour more off through infinite space when we cannot see, hear, feel, or otherwise observe or prove any such motion.
Look, you can't know anything if you're relying on just your base senses, but more importantly, there are two halves to the science pie. One you seem incapable of eating. There's observation and inference. You can observe one thing, like say there's your video right here, so we can infer that your mother was a klutz and dropped you on your head a lot when you were a baby. Or how about if you find a car all smashed up by a tree and you can infer that some drunk flat earther has been at it again with her stupid videos.
In a car, help.
And we can see clearly for ourselves Polaris never moving, and all the other stars revolving around it.
You can see clearly for yourself that, as you said, it doesn't move an inch. Whatever the hell that even means at these distances, even the ones you assume it's at. However, that's not the case, is it? Seeing as it's actually about 1 degree off the centre, so it absolutely moves. You would have known that if you had looked it up instead of assuming that every asinine thought that comes into your empty bonce is a hashtag true fact. It's actually amazing that you put so much work into making a frankly lovely looking video and didn't think to do a single fact check of all your so-called "it is a fact that."
This is just a brief introduction to the many observable, testable, repeatable scientific facts of our level, motionless plain Earth that have been suppressed and ridiculed for centuries.
Suppressed? What the hell do you call this? The Illuminati does such a terrible job at keeping you down, letting you say and think pretty much whatever you want. It's almost as if there's actually not a massive conspiracy and that you're just a giant dumbass.
In favor of various unobservable, untestable, unscientific theories purporting we live on a tilting, wobbling, spinning, ball-shaped Earth.
If I say it, it must be true. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your brain on flat Earth. Not even once. Hard drugs will rot your brain less.